with the Burton Wire, and we have some fantastic, the new face of black women in Hollywood. Not that there's an old face, but
Yeah, I was like, I don't know if people don't like that.
the new face of black women in Hollywood. And I'm going to have each one of them, I know you recognize who they are, so I'm going to have each one of them introduce themselves to you.
Hello, Nicole Beharie.
Hi, I'm Emayatzy Corienaldi.
Hi, I'm Teyonah Parris.
Hello, I'm Asia Naomi King.
Fantastic. Well, welcome, ladies, and thank you so much for speaking with us on the Burton Wire. So, well, since you have the microphone, let's go here. So, talk to me a little bit about your experience as an actress, how you got into it, and then you're on How to Get Away with Murder, and you're also in Revolution, help me.
The Birth of a Nation.
Yes.
Revolution. Yep.
So talk a little bit about that.
Well, I was lucky enough to go to Yale grad school, and I studied theater there for 3 years, which was a really wonderful and enriching experience. And thankfully, we had a showcase, and I was able to get a great agent and manager from that. And that was really the beginning for me, because then I could get inside the room. And the next step after that was getting inside of better rooms, rooms that, allowed access to complicated, more interesting parts. And honestly, I used to gauge how well I was doing based on who else was being invited into that room. Like, ooh, she works a lot, and now I'm in this room with her. Okay, good. I'm working my way up there. And so it's actually been a really wonderful journey. I feel very blessed. I've had a lot of people support me and tell me that, that I could do everything. And so I feel very, very lucky in that. And now that I'm starting to see there be even more roles, really interesting, complicated roles for black women like us of all different, shades, shapes, and sizes, it's so moving to me to see all this potential and for us to all be able to share our talents, and that's what you really want at the end of the day. You want the size of your talent to be met. So yeah.
So same question for you, but then I'll ask you to add on to what she said. Is it enough? Though we have all these faces, do you think it's enough?
Do I think it's enough? I think, no, it's never enough. Like, we have to keep creating. We have to keep creating our own content so that we can see the sort of work that we want out there, the sort of characters, the stories that we want told. So no, I don't think it's never enough. As far as our stories being given the same platform that other stories are given, it's nowhere near as visible. So no, not enough. Let's keep going. There was something else?
Yeah, how you got started.
Oh. Yeah, I am from South Carolina, Hopkins, South Carolina, and I went to a boarding school for high school, the last 2 years of high school, which was a conservatory for acting. And then from there, I got into the Juilliard School, and my journey has really been quite amazing. Just really, as I look back and see the steps and how God has ordered everything, it really is like, wow, that there were things at work that I couldn't even imagine before I even came to face it. So that's really been my journey, and very similar to Asia. Once I graduated from the Juilliard School, I started working with a manager, and we just really started going from there.
Fantastic. And for you, I have to add something on. So your experience, how you got started, but I want to know about your working with Spike Lee and how that was.
I'm looking forward to the opportunity to work with Spike Lee.
No, wait, who was, somebody has worked with Spike Lee.
This beautiful woman did.
Okay, you worked with
We
Spike
claiming
Lee.
This beautiful woman did here.
Because that was basically the hair you had. So now you threw me off because you got great. You can't change your
Listen,
hair.
all black girls don't look alike.
I know. Come on now.
Well, let them tell you. Anyway.
But I'll let you ask her that question.
Yeah, so
but
go ahead.
But for me, I got started. Acting was something that I just enjoyed. Didn't think that it was something that could be a career choice for me. And then one day had an epiphany. Oh, okay, I think I want to do this as a career. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to figure something out. And God orchestrating the way to make that happen. I'm an Army brat, but Jersey is home. Studied there at the Actors Training Studio, and then for a few years, and then I came out here. And kind of been grinding away ever since, in that sense.
So your favorite role or the favorite thing you've done so far, that will be your
I don't know if I have a favorite. They've all been so different, and I think that's what I like most about the things that I've done is that they've been so different. From portraying Belle in Roots, to portraying a character on Hand of God named Tessie, who is just very different from Belle. And working with Don Cheadle and Miles Ahead, and that character is very different. I like the differences. I don't like doing just one specific thing and being put in any kind of box in that way. So that's been the most exciting thing for me.
So I have one other little thing for you. We've heard the thing that people are tired. Some people are tired of slavery stories. I'd like to hear your take on that. Do we still need to talk about it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Our experience, this country, it's not just, slavery is not just our experience as Black people. It's this country. It's the history of this country. And so there are countless stories that need to be told. I don't know if we'll ever be able to get them all out there. So there is so much more room. There's a necessity for it. Given the conversation that we're having right now in our society, the fact that we have a Black Lives Matter movement in 2016, that shows that it's necessary because some people don't get it. You don't understand it. You don't understand how some of these, the situations that we're in now, they started back then. And so there's such a correlation that I think that these stories have to be told. What I do think is that there has to be other things added onto that. People want to see themselves represented. So history or slavery is a part of our history. But also as Black people, we can be dramatic, we can do comedy or what have you, but it doesn't just have to be us doing the romantic comedies. It doesn't have to be just slavery or what have you. There's so many more parts of the pie. And I think, if anything, that's what people feel that they're missing at times. It's just the whole of it all. There should be more. But to ever be tired of movies about slavery per se, I think it's impossible because that is our history. And apparently, given where we are right now, a lot of people don't know.
Can I actually add something to that? Just to that question, because, having done Birth of a Nation, and Nate says this a lot, and I feel it bears repeating. When it comes to stories about, the Holocaust within the Jewish community, the phrase is never forget, never again. And the ideology behind when it comes to Black people and learning about slavery, being enslaved, people say get over it. Well, we can't get over it because we see the ramifications of it to this day. So that's why we need to continue telling the story, because our youth are growing up in a world that is very harsh on them. And if they don't know their history, they're not going to know, they can't flourish. So we have to continue telling our stories.
So well said, you guys. You guys gave me little chills.
And now you.
That's true. I know, and now me. Exactly. I'm going to let you guys down, okay? Right, I know.
But no, please tell us a little about how you got into it.
Oh,
and then,
yes, that part.
The question for you is, how do you envision using what you're doing now as a platform for change? Or do you envision doing that?
Platform for change. Well, I guess I'll start in the beginning. I was also in the service. My family was in the service. I'm just going to walk down the line here. I was also an Army brat. And Teyonah and I actually went to the same boarding school, and then we went to the same conservatory. She's just gorgeous, so I'm just going to stand beside her. I agree with everything that she has to say. No, I went to a conservatory. I traveled a lot as a child, and I found that adapting to different environments made me curious about people, so I wanted to tell stories and try on different people. And I also like the idea of going from set to set or theater to theater and having these little families for a few months, which is very cool. It's a part of our lifestyle. How did it happen? I got out of Juilliard. We had a showcase, and then I got a film called The Express. I was so blessed. I got this film called The Express. It had like 3 scenes. And I'd never been on a set. It was actually my first job. I thought I was signed up to be the spear carrier in the public theater's Romeo and Juliet. And then I got this part, and I was like, a little bit of a quirky person, if you can't tell. And I was like, I didn't necessarily see myself on camera. So that was something that was huge to me. I was like, I'm kind of weird, but these people bought it, so I'm going to go for it. And then the rest is sort of history. As far as making a change through my work, I think being a little bit of an anthropologist in what we're doing, like just learning about history and then sort of guessing what the trajectory might be with this medium and social media and everything and what we're capable of is what I'm interested in. So maybe one day producing and directing and telling, of course, varied stories, but not actually just about Black people either. I think that becomes very narrow because we start having to protect just ourselves. Like, we have to get this stuff out for us. And it's like, the more that we expand our horizons, the more human and whole and well-rounded we'll be. And that's kind of my goal as a human being. I just think so. As an artist, I'm like, I want more nuance, I want more this and that. But the goal is ultimately to like expand and show little people. When I was watching films and when I was watching television, they were showing me things that I hadn't necessarily seen. Some things you would identify, but things that you didn't see in your everyday life that were possible. There were which character? I'm thinking the Josephine Baker story and like just little things here and there. Actually, there was a film. What is the name of that film? Jeez Louise, y'all know I'm taking so long. Oh yeah. Who was that? It was Glenn Close. I can't remember. Oh my God, it was like Fatal Attraction. And I was like, this is really dark, super interesting. I was very young too. I think I was like 10. And I was like, this is very dark. This is super interesting, and we just don't see those sort of things. Like for us, in How to Get Away with Murder, you see something like that now, but we didn't see anything like that, and that sort of depth is really interesting to me. Sorry, I'm all over the place.
Okay. Well, you guys are getting a lot of hearts, a lot of thumbs up, and thank you so much for being there. You guys are awesome. We can't wait to see what else you do. Thank you. Bye, guys.